as I watched the Packers today, here's why I think that they have an argument to be right there. I'm so impressed with the little tweaks they made today offensively with this offensive line being so banged up.
Yes.
The fact that you have, I think Billy Turner, I want to say, is their only day one starter that you would have come into with on training camp. So Runyon and Freeman Runyon's a second-year player, but Freeman's a rookie, and then you have Billy Turner at right tackle. Lucas Patrick is playing center now because Myers is hurt, and the left tackle's name I still can't remember.
Nope.
It's just all backups. And the fact that they came into this game and they're just leaning into Rodgers' quick game. Little tiny variations where he's just working the flat and moving guys with his eyes and working very surgical areas of the field. They clearly leaned into that game plan wise. I think it's time to start giving Matt LaFleur a little bit of credit. So It's one of those things where it's all right, if their offense is going to be this flexible and they can make these sort of little tweaks on the move, why don't we believe in them? But at the same time, in the back of my mind, it's the offensive line's not getting all the way back. Even if Bakhtiari gets there, you still don't have Jenkins now. So what's their ceiling, even if they can survive? But then you look at the Rams, and it's how worried should we be? Yes. And it just starts this whole cycle again where it's I don't know. I just don't know.
Really, everything you just said about the Packers is exactly how I feel. Because I was man, that was a really impressive win today. It really was. And just like what you said with Matt LaFleur, it was because we're going to talk about another team and their usage of quick game. But it was watching how this team utilized quick game. It was that's how you use it. He's don't just
run. The greatest quick game thrower in the history of professional football.
And they formation it up to just add that extra little 10% to it.
Yes.
And just, having Devontae Adams running stick on a linebacker is a lot better than having your second string tight end run it. It's just that little let's just create those little advantages that we have because we have a dominant receiver and a dominant quarterback. Yeah. And that's how you negate Von Miller and an Aaron Donald pass rush against backup.
Yeah.
And
but how long can you do that? That's my question is how many different times
now
can
it's
you
on
do that?
tape.
But as we get into December and January, it gets cold. They could get the number one seed. They have the tiebreaker over the Cardinals. If you have to play all these games at Lambeau and you're having to tackle 250-pound A.J. Dillon when it's 2 degrees outside, these are all the things that's kind of come into play. So I feel right now, no matter how you stack them up, I think the Bucs, Cardinals, and Packers in some order represent their own grouping in the NFC because I'm starting to worry about the Rams.
I am too.
And for a couple different reasons. The defense, it just seems on the back end, they don't have the guys right now. You look at it, and I think we kind of understated coming into the year what losing all of that secondary depth and just those key complementary pieces would mean for them. Your Troy Hills, your John Johnsons. Taylor Rapp has made some nice plays, but when Taylor Rapp has got to cover Randall Cobb coming out of the backfield inside the 10-yard line, that becomes a problem. When you have backup corners having to cover Devontae Adams on slot fades, that becomes a problem. So their defense, even if we like the guys up front, the back end just gives me pause. I have reason for concern there. And then the Diana Rossini report this morning about how banged up Stafford is and how it's affecting him. Now you start to get really concerned. When the words chronic back issue start creeping up about a quarterback that's struggling, even though he told at the press conference today, Jordan Rodriguez reported that he said nothing was affecting him. But now it's just one of those things where in the back of my mind, it's man, how healthy is he? How much is it affecting their offense? So I just have more concerns about them right now than I do about those other three teams that I would put at the top.
Yeah. And even Kent's making sure we know, but even I would have the Cowboys ahead of the Rams right now. That's where I'm at with them because it's just this Rams team, like what you're saying with the Stafford stuff, it's telling. It's not where it's it's a toughness thing where it's oh man, he's banged up, but he's playing okay. It's you can see not even just the back and something with his leg because he's not stepping into a lot of stuff. And you can tell when guys are sailing stuff or something's wrong with their plant foot is when they short step because then your shoulder just rises up. And I saw Stafford a couple times. He short steps. And I know he kind of has funky feet anyways, how he throws stuff. But when it's kind of becoming a consistent thing, that kind of, it's a little scary. When you're not getting those gimmies, when he's missing the gimmies sometimes or once, he's not taking the highs of the high lows, which is what he was doing weeks 1 through 7.
Which is why they were so dangerous early in the season.
Yes, that's why we were so enamored by it because it was this is pushing the ball. That's why we were so exciting. Your high lows with a wrap underneath and a dig behind it, he was hitting the digs over and over and over. Now, there's a couple times today they had a smash concept. He's throwing underneath right away because he
Yeah.
doesn't want to get hit. It's in the back of his mind. I'm not saying Stafford's soft. It's just when you're hurt and you're getting hit
Stuff
in the cold,
starts to compile.
Correct. It's just that little back of the mind thing makes you also just go, well, I got to get rid of the ball. I'm not taking it. I just got hit that last play. That sucked. I'm not doing that again. And that sucks because now the offense is, you're not getting that explosiveness. And especially with the run game not being as dynamic and how they've kind of bought into more spready formations rather than the bunch stuff and the motion stuff. And I'm not just saying because Robert Woods is out, but just kind of that's where
But that matters.
Yeah. Yeah. They lost that little window dressing. So they were saying we're going to run good plays and we're going to run them well. But before they would run good plays with the window dressing. So now it's like, are they going to go back to that? Which is they have a lot of stuff to answer. Even today, Packers drove on everything. And that was why we liked Stafford, was because he was stopping defenses from driving on everything.
Yeah.
Now he's not hitting that. And it took him till like the third or fourth quarter to finally hit the sluggo route to OBJ. And it's like, that was late to adjust to that. Going into this game, you kind of know what you have. It was a little, this offense is kind of just, it's a little worrisome. These cracks are just opening up even more and more and more. And we talk about chemistry stuff and like OBJ, having a new receiver there. It's not just, timing on everything. We want to say timing. You got to get used to how he catches the ball. He has to get used to how he throws the ball. The one where Stafford sailed the ball to OBJ on the dig, OBJ's short on the route. And so it's a double whammy. So Stafford not only doesn't throw a great ball, but he's short on the route. That's chemistry, injuries. It's like that was like a nice personification of or encapsulation of what's going wrong with that offense. The details aren't there and they're missing on the execution. And when that's a double whammy and you're going against like a really good team like the Packers who play fast on defense, it's hard. It's really, really hard. And I'm not totally like, oh, I'm out with the Rams. It's just like, it's going to be a little harder than maybe I thought, where they're going to be like throwing haymakers with all the good teams and just pounding away on all the bad teams. I think it's more like, wow, they might be going 500 the rest of the way and limping to the playoffs, which is way different than we thought a couple weeks ago.
It's kind of funny because the Rams, like you said, they kind of want to live in this more spread out world, and the transition to running the ball and being an effective running team and kind of having that mindset is difficult. It's kind of a big jump. Mm-hmm. So they don't have a lot of other ways. We were so enamored is the right word with them early in the season because this was a version we'd never seen before. Yeah. And it almost feels like they're stuck in this version now.
Yeah.
Where with
they're pot committed.
Yeah. And with the Packers and the Bucks, it's probably rooted in their quarterbacks, right? It just feels like they have these different places they could go. Yeah. Rodgers is like, I could just live in the quick game for an entire 60 minutes and I can just shred you in these tiny little maddening ways. Yep. And the Bucks, if they want to run the ball, and obviously you have that stuff with Brady. It was all Gronk today. I mean, just working the middle of the field, and there's going to be a Godwin day and there's going to be an Evans day, but it just feels like they have different places they can go.